Welcome again, students. Subject Civics, Standard 8th, Chapter number 3, The Union Executive, Part 2. Okay, so let's continue with our first point, power and functions of the President. The Constitution has entrusted several powers and functions to the President. A few functions are enumerated as follows. First, the President summons the meeting of Parliament, prorogue the session of Parliament, sends messages to both houses, dissolves the Parliament after the tenure is over or even before the tenure gets over. Second point, bill passed by the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha must be signed by the President. Without his signature, the bill cannot become a law. Third, President appoints the Prime Minister and other ministers on the recommendation of Prime Minister. Fourth point, the President appoints the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts. The President also appoints the governors of states, Chief Election Commissioner, and other important officers. Fifth point, the President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Decisions regarding war and peace are made by the President. Sixth point, the President has some judicial powers too. For instance, the President has the power to reduce the punishment, grant a respite or commute a sentence of a person, or in special circumstances grant pardons or reprieves on humanitarian grounds. Seventh point is, President has the power to declare emergency in case of a crisis situation arising in the country. There are three kinds of emergencies mentioned in the Constitution. First, national emergency. Second, state emergency. And third, financial emergency. In the absence of the President, his functions are carried out by the Vice President. The Vice President is elected by members of both houses. Okay, now we will see the composition of the Union Executive. Okay, the Union Executive comprises of President, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers. Okay, so the President is a nominal executive that we have seen in a previous video, where the Prime Minister is the real executive. Let us know about the qualifications, functions and powers of the members. Now we will see qualification of the President. Okay, that we have already seen in previous module, but it is just your revision. President should be a citizen of India. He should have completed 35 years of age. He should have qualifications similar to the members of the Lok Sabha. He should be sound mind. Okay, means he can take decision. Now we will revise functions of the President. Okay, the functions of the president can be studied as follows. First power is executive power that we are going to see in detail. Okay, the president of India is the head of the executive of the union government. Therefore, all executive powers are vested in the hands of the president. He can exercise these powers either directly or through the subordinate officers. According to the Constitution of India, all executive action is also taken in his name. The President appoints the governors of the states, the judges of the Supreme Court, and high courts of the states. The Prime Minister of India is appointed by the President. The President also appoints other ministers in consultation with the Prime Minister. The Constitution of India empowers the President to appoint the important officers of the Union government, including the Attorney General for India, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, the Chairman of the Finance Commission, the Election Commissioners, etc. The President is responsible for the administration of the Union territories. For this reason, he appoints Chief Commissioners and Lieutenant Governors of the centrally administrated areas. The President has been empowered to set up a commission for the settlement of disputes relating to the supply of water between two or more states. Moreover, the Constitution has authorized the President to establish an interstate council to inquire into disputes that may arise between the states as well as to discuss the matters of the common interests between the Union and the states. The President alone can remove the Council of Ministers, the Governors of States, and the Attorney General for India. The President of India is Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Army, Navy, and the Air Force of the Union. He has the power to declare war. The President also enjoys the diplomatic power. He appoints the diplomatic representatives of India to the foreign states. He also receives the credential letters of the diplomatic representatives of other states. The President represents India in international affairs. He has the power to conclude treaties with foreign states. Now, second power of the President is legislative powers. The President of India also enjoys legislative powers. He is an integral part of Indian Parliament. Parliament consists of the President and two houses, the Houses of the People, Lok Sabha, and the Council of the States, Rajya Sabha. The President has the power to summon and prorogue both the House of Parliament. He can also dissolve the House of the People before the expiry of its term. The Constitution of India empowers the President to deliver an address to the Parliament at the commencement of the first session every year. He may also send messages to Parliament. The President nominates 2 members to the Lok Sabha from the Anglo-Indian community and 12 members to the Rajya Sabha from among the persons who have acquired special knowledge in art, science, literature, and social service. In India, a public bill cannot become an act without the assent of the President. A bill passed by the Union Parliament is sent to the President for his assent. The President may give his assent to the bill or may withhold his assent from the bill, or he may return the bill to the Parliament for its reconsideration. If the bill is again passed by both houses of Parliament, the President shall have to give his assent. When the Parliament is not in session, the President may issue an ordinance. It has the same force as the law or Parliament, but it must be placed before the Parliament when it again assembles. If it is then approved by both the houses of Parliament, it will cease to operate after 6 weeks of the date of meeting of Parliament, and the President can call a joint session of both houses of Parliament to resolve a constitutional deadlock over a public bill. Third point is financial powers. The President of India also exercises financial powers. No money bill can be introduced in Parliament without the recommendations of the President. According to the Constitution of India, annual financial statement is placed by the President before both the houses of Parliament. This statement shows the estimates of revenue and expenditure of the central government for the next year. It may be pointed out that the proposal for taxation and expenditure cannot be made without the approval of the President. Next power is judicial powers. The President of India grants pardons, reprieves, or remissions of punishment to any person who has been convicted by a court of law. Now, next power of President is emergency powers. The President of India exercises extraordinary powers in times of emergency. The three kinds of emergency situations are: first, emergency due to armed rebellion or external aggression. Second, emergency arising from the breakdown of constitutional machinery in a state. And third, financial emergency. A national emergency can be declared in the whole of India or a part of its territory for causes of war or armed rebellion or an external aggression. For example, we can take example of corona situation. Okay, now President has taken one decision to complete lockdown in India. So it is a national emergency. Such an emergency was declared in India in 1962, Indo-China War, 1971 Indo-Pakistan War, and 1975 to 1977 declared by Indira Gandhi. Under Article 352 of the India Constitution, the President can declare such an emergency only on the basis of a written request by the Cabinet of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. Such a proclamation must be approved by the Parliament with an at least 2/3 majority within 1 month. Such an emergency can be imposed for 6 months. It can be extended by 6 months by repeated parliamentary approval. There is no maximum duration. In such an emergency, fundamental rights of Indian citizens can be suspended. The 6 freedoms under right to freedom are automatically suspended. However, the right to life and personal liberty cannot be suspended. Got it, everyone? The President can make laws on the 66 subjects of the state list, which contains subjects on which the state governments can make laws. Also, all money bills are referred to the President for approval. The term of the Lok Sabha can be extended by a period of up to 1 year, but not so as to extend the term of Parliament beyond 6 months after the end of the declared emergency. National emergency has been proclaimed 3 times in India till date. It was declared first in 1962 by President Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan during the Sino-Indian War. This emergency lasted through the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 and up to 1968. It was revoked in 1968. The second emergency in India was proclaimed in 1971 by President V.V. Giri on the eve of the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971. The first 2 emergencies were in the face of external aggression and war. They were hence external emergencies. Even as the second emergency was in progress, another internal emergency was proclaimed by President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed with Indira Gandhi as Prime Minister in 1975. In 1977, the second and the third emergencies were together revoked. Now, state emergency. If the President is not fully satisfied on the basis of the report of the Governor of the concerned state or from other sources that the governance in a state cannot be carried out according to the provisions in the Constitution, he can proclaim under Article 356 a state of emergency in the state. Such an emergency must be approved by the Parliament within a period of 2 months. Under Article 356 of the Indian Constitution, it can be imposed from 6 months to a maximum period of 3 years with the repeated parliamentary approval. every 6 months. If the emergency needs to be extended for more than 3 years, this can be achieved by a constitutional amendment, as has happened in Punjab and Jammu Kashmir. During such an emergency, the president can take over the entire work of the executive and the president. The legislative assembly can be dissolved or may remain in suspended animation. The parliament makes laws on the 66 subjects of the state list. A state emergency can be imposed via the following. First, by Article 356. Students, please pay attention very carefully. It is very important. Okay? If that state failed to run constitutionally, that is, constitutional machinery has failed. When a state emergency is imposed under this provision, the state is said to be under President's rule. By Article 365, it is second article. Okay? If that state is not working according to the direction of the union government issued per the provisions of the constitution, this type of emergency needs the approval of the parliament within 2 months. It can last up to a maximum of 3 years via extensions after each 6 months period. However, after 1 year, it can be extended only if a state of national emergency has been declared in the country or in the particular state. The Election Commission finds it difficult to organize an election in that state. The Sarkaria Commission held that presidents have unconstitutionally misused the provision of Article 356 many times for achieving political moves by dismissing the state governments, although there was no constitutional breakdown in these states. During 2005, President's rule was imposed in Bihar state, misusing Article 356 unconstitutionally to prevent the democratically elected state legislators to form a government after the state elections. There is no provision in the constitution to re-promulgate president's rule in a state when the earlier promulgation ceased to operate for want of parliament's approval within 2 months duration. During 2014 in Andhra Pradesh, President's rule was first imposed on 1st March 2014 and it ceased to operate on 30th April 2014. President's rule was promulgated after being fully aware that the earliest parliament session is feasible at the end of May 2014 after the general elections. It was reimposed again unconstitutionally on 28th April 2014 by the President. Students, here we have learned in details the powers and functions their work of the president, which is given by the constitution. I hope you have understood till here very well. Okay, thank you.